Very good morning. First of all, I would like to thank organizing committee for giving chance to present in front of large podium. I'm Dr. Tejas Shah. I'm interventional cardiologist. The topic which has been given to me, basically it is for like non-invasive cardiologist, but it matters a lot when I'm presenting in front of you. So out of office blood pressure measurement. So as we all know, hypertension is the leading cause of global burden of disease, and it doubles the risk of cardiovascular disease, including coronary heart disease, congestive heart failure, hemorrhagic stroke, and renal failure. So it is often associated with additional cardiovascular disease risk factors, and the risk of CVD increases with the total burden of risk factors. So suppose person who has diabetes and diabetes with hypertension, obviously the probability of having CVD will increase when these two risk factors are there. And as a general physician, you know that even though we feel or we think that patient has been treated properly with the antihypertensive medication, but majority of the time it is not true. So this was the study which was published in a very reputed journal, JAMA, that is Journal of American Medical Association, and data has been presented from all over the India. It was from urban and rural side. So what has been found exactly? So it has been found that the crude prevalence rate of hypertension, it was in India, it was 25.3%, and majority of the population in certain state, especially the northern state and in Kerala, whether it was from the urban population or rural population, the incidence of hypertension was same. Surprisingly, there was no data from the Gujarat. So why, as a physician, we are concerned? So why blood pressure management as a physician concern? So basically, the proper management of blood pressure depends on these three factors that we have to tackle. That is 24-hour BP level, circadian rhythm, what is morning blood pressure, what is evening blood pressure, what is nighttime blood pressure, and BP variability. If you manage all these factors, the cardiovascular protection, the purpose of cardiovascular protection is fulfilled. So what are the challenges? So what are the important factors affecting blood pressure measurements? See, there is always an inherent variability. Morning blood pressure, especially in normal person, as compared to the afternoon or evening, it is slightly lower. So what is the mechanism behind that? I would come later on. Defense reaction, the limitation of the device being used. So whether we use sphygmomanometer, whether we use Android, whether we use oscillometer, so by which you measure the blood pressure, that also matters. And blood pressure is not easily measured in some age group. It is not like that, but it is not accurately measured. Basically, in old age patient, whatever the non-invasive blood pressure, what we are measuring, that is not accurate. Okay. So what are the aspects common to all BP measurement techniques? So accuracy of the BP measurement device. We always see how we measure the blood pressure, what size of cuff basically we are using. So the ideal cuff should measure at least 2/3 of your arm circumference. So in day-to-day practice, we sometimes observe, suppose obese patient come and his arm circumference is more and cuff is not able to, the cuff which we are using, if is not able to completely encircle the 2/3 of the part, the BP is always overestimate. Selecting reliable devices, as I have told, whether you use sphygmomanometer, Android or oscillometer. Cuff, as already I have discussed, the size of the cuff always matters because it will give the accuracy of the blood pressure when you are sitting in the office or at your clinic. White coat hypertension and mask hypertension. These two are the very familiar terminology. What is white coat hypertension? આપણે કહીએ ને કે ડોક્ટરને જોઈને બ્લડ પ્રેશર વધી જાય છે. So basically office blood pressure is high, but when you measure the blood pressure outside the office, that is normal. And mask hypertension. This is again a very important aspect when you deal a patient of mask hypertension. Person come with you at your clinic with the symptoms of headache, but you suppose if you want to rule out the cause for headache, you measure the blood pressure, but blood pressure is absolutely normal. You think it is some other cause for headache. And the same person, if you measure the blood pressure by any mean outside of your office, and it turn out to be in hypertensive range. So such type of person or patient has to be treated very carefully. Such patient, as we have discussed, it's like a peak of iceberg. So as I have told, the incidence of white coat hypertension and mask hypertension in general population is varying between 10 to 20%. So as I have told, when you measure blood pressure at your clinic, that is high, and you measure outside, that is normal. So that is white coat hypertension. And when you measure blood pressure at your office or your clinic, which is normal, but by other means, if you measure blood pressure outside your clinic, that is high, that is mask hypertension. And mind you, white coat hypertension and mask hypertension both have significant morbidity and mortality in hypertensive patient. So white coat hypertension, how it should be approached and how it should be managed. So basically white coat hypertension, if you find such type of patient at your clinic, you will advise certain lifestyle changes and annual follow-up. But when you start treatment, when there is a high risk for CVD, so suppose patient who is diabetic, suppose patient who have already coronary artery disease, suppose patient who have peripheral arterial disease, such type of patient who are at high CVD, such type of patient with white coat hypertension should be treated. It is exactly opposite for mask hypertension. Along with lifestyle changes, such patient require antihypertensive treatment. So mind you, mask hypertension has to be treated. So again, this is a triad: BP variability, central BP, and stiffness. Central BP is basically, we are talking of central aortic pressure, which we usually measure intra-arterial, and mask hypertension. So these are the three things to be discussed out of office blood pressure management. So as I have told, what are the clinical implications of mask hypertension? So if you see, if you follow up a patient with mask hypertension as compared to normotension patient or pre-hypertensive patient, or like normotension with mask hypertension and pre-hypertension with mask hypertension, the incidence of stroke is always high, or even severe events is always high in case of mask hypertension. This chart basically shows that the probability of having CV events is high in case of mask hypertension. The next slide on your right side, which shows that the incidence of having stroke is higher when the patient has mask hypertension. And this is very important finding which has been noticed by nephrologists, that those patients who have less eGFR, so when your estimated eGFR is estimated glomerular filtration rate is less than say 30 ml per minute, so incidence of having mask hypertension was more. And those patients who is having significant proteinuria in CKD patient, more than say 1 gram per day, who are losing protein, their office blood pressure was normal, but out of office blood pressure was high. So until unless you treat that blood pressure, the mortality of such patient were very high. So now coming to these three factors, what is blood pressure variability? We notice that I have told there is always a difference when you measure blood pressure in the morning, afternoon and evening, that is, which is known as a circadian rhythm. And there are three types of BP blood pressure variability. First is ultra short term. So what is that? Ultra short term, that is beat to beat variability. And how it has been measured? Usually it has been measured with intra-arterial recordings. And what are the clinical implication of ultra short term BP variabilities? So basically it is a estimation of neurohormonal systems involved in blood pressure regulation. Short term variability is minute to hours. And basically how it measures, it has been measured with ambulatory blood pressure monitoring. and increased variability in daytime and nighttime, and whole 24-hour period associated with increased target organ damage. So person who is having more of short-term BP variability, they have definitely high chances of development of target organ damage. And what is long-term BP variability? That is day-to-day or visit-to-visit BP variability. The same thing, how we measure it, that is with ambulatory blood pressure or even office blood pressure or house blood pressure monitoring. And large visit-to-visit BP variability, it is independently associated with increased incidence of stroke. So how this BP variability affected, or what are the factors which is responsible for the variation of the blood pressure? So demographic factors, like if you measure the blood pressure of a person of 40 years and if you measure the blood pressure of a person of 80 years, definitely there would be a difference. Gender, race, ethnicity, this all matters. Physiological. So obviously when the baroreceptor activity is more, the blood pressure is different. Where it is low, especially in the sleep, the blood pressure is low. Sympathetic nervous system activity, angiotensin 2, aldosterone, all these hormones are responsible for the variability of the blood pressure. Behavioral. So physical and mental activity. Obviously in aggression, when there is a more of sympathetic nervous system activity, the blood pressure is more. Body posture. So while standing, definitely systolic blood pressure increases. Sitting or lying down, it reduces. So when you measure the blood pressure, this all parameters also matters. Environmental. Obviously we see that high salt intake, smoking, alcohol all increase the blood pressure. Other comorbid condition like say primary or secondary hypertension, diabetes, CKD, this all increase your blood pressure. Now why we are bothered for blood pressure variability? Because it has been found that it is associated with the target organ damage. So various studies has been performed and it has been found that the blood pressure variability has been associated with increased severity of target organ damage, high degree of retinal abnormality, development of stroke, CV events, etc. So now, as I mentioned that BP variability has been associated with TOD and POD. So we have to concentrate on that part. This is just a simple tracing, like intra-arterial blood pressure, how it looks like. You can see from say that is 7 o'clock to 1 o'clock, the blood pressure is slightly on higher side. And during night time, the yellow bar shows that the blood pressure is fall. That is normal phenomena. Why during night time, during sleep, blood pressure fall? Because due to increased parasympathetic tone. So that is normally found in normal person. So during night time, at least there should be 10% of the BP fall should happen in normal person. And you can see that patient, when he is awake, the blood pressure which is on a white bar, it is increased, but it is increased with slightly on above average level. And say from 13 to 19, that is 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock, the blood pressure again it has reduced. Now this tracing shows that say before going to sleep and say from 7 o'clock to 1 o'clock and from 1 o'clock or maybe 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, again these red zones suggest that there was a high BP surge, which is usually not acceptable, which is definitely damaging to your target or peripheral organ damage. So how this morning BP surge has been associated with the stroke? So what is basically a sleep trough, or we deal with morning BP surge? Sleep trough is basically a difference between your nighttime blood pressure when you go for the sleep minus the lowest blood pressure during the sleep. So when sleep trough blood pressure increase, that is of your 10% of your systolic blood pressure more than 55 millimeter of mercury, there are always a chance for development of stroke. So here on right side, red bar shows that morning surge And the same green bar shows that non-such patient, they have a high chances of having silent cerebral infarct. That means those who are having a morning surge, that have very high chances of having cerebral infarcts or even the stroke events. So nocturnal blood pressure, dipping status and stroke prognosis in older sustained hypertensive. Again the same thing. Actually there are 4 types of patient during how you can classify during the sleep. Extreme dippers. Dippers I have explained. What is dippers? Dippers means those patients who have 10% of blood pressure deepening during the night. That is normal. Extreme dippers is more than 10%. In normal patient, there should be a 10% of your systolic blood pressure fall. That is normal physiological phenomena. If it falls below 10%, extreme dippers, sometimes they have 20% of systolic blood pressure falls. As compared to dippers are, as already I have mentioned. Non-dippers means during sleep there is no fall of systolic blood pressure. And risers. Risers means while sleeping the blood pressure is not fall, rather from baseline blood pressure during sleep the blood pressure is increased above 10% rather than fall. So you can see the risers have a very bad or the fatal events as compared to the non-dippers, dippers and extreme dippers. So ideally during sleep your blood pressure should fall, or a patient who is on hypertension, antihypertensive treatment, the blood pressure should fall of at least 10%. So these are the synergistic resonance of BP variability. So what does it suggest? Basically, as the age progresses, your vascular stiffness increases, there are always a high chances of increase in systolic blood pressure. And if you don't control that, there are always a chance for development of CV events or stroke. So now coming to main topic, now what should I do? If I face a patient who is having say mask hypertension, who is having white coat effect or white coat hypertension, who is having history suggestive of dippers or non-dippers. So how should I treat, or how should I manage such type of patient? Here the role of ambulatory blood pressure monitoring comes, in which see office BP measures inherently problematic. It matters how we measure the blood pressure. Suppose person come to your clinic and you directly measure the blood pressure, that is not ideal. There are systemic ways. Ideally patient has to be seated properly in quiet room for 10 minutes. Blood pressure should be measured in sitting position. When you measure the blood pressure, his arm should be having rest on your table. You should not measure when the patient arm is hanging. Okay. And 2-3 important things. You have to ask the patient that in half an hour before whether patient has consumed any smoking, alcohol, or even the tea coffee consumption. Such type of thing you should always allow the patient to sit for at least half an hour and take the blood pressure. So but in clinics we are always in hurry, so such type of protocols are very difficult to follow. But for ideal BP measurement, this step has to be taken properly. Even study has mentioned that if person is sitting with cross leg, that is not allowed. Why? Because if you put a cross leg, that will increase your peripheral vascular resistance. So even artificially your blood pressure is elevated. So even person should be seated cool, quietly and with straight leg. So these are the factors while you measure the blood pressure. But obviously it is not possible to follow, but these are the factors which should be keep in mind. So office BP have definitely inherent some problem. So it has been recommended that out of office blood pressure should confirm the diagnosis of hypertension. So there are many ways, as I have told, that is, one is ABPM, second is self BP monitoring at home. So out of office BP, why it should be recommended, or how it is helpful to diagnosis what condition. So first question is whether this person is truly hypertensive. So I will give one example. One patient has come, you have measured the blood pressure and it turned out to be say 140/90. Now what you will do? You will start immediately antihypertensive treatment, or what other thing you would recommend? How will you follow that patient? So as a clinician we usually do, we always check the blood pressure in all the 4 limbs. Suppose say 40-year young male has come and you want to stamp whether this patient is having hypertension. So first and foremost thing is check the blood pressure in all the 4 limbs if possible. Check the blood pressure in lying down, sitting and standing position. And I would recommend at least check blood pressure first in 2 arms separately. And allow him to sit for half an hour, check it again. So after that, suppose still say blood pressure is not fall, what you will recommend? You will recommend definitely ABPM, because the value of ABPM is high to diagnose hypertension. Is target organ damage is there or not? Suppose LVH is there or not? Definitely. And we want to start say antihypertensive treatment.
2 minutes left.
2 minutes, sir. Oh, have to go very fast. And is future target organ damage estimating BP variability, and how reproducible is this technique? So basically ABPM is definitely reproducible to know. I will just show this is the machine and how it can be hang. It can be say attached to your belt, or you can just wear it like sling. During night time also you can just measure the blood pressure. So to diagnose white coat hypertension and mask hypertension especially, and for 24-hour blood pressure recording, this is recommended. Advantages I have told. Limitation, it is basically not widely available and cumbersome to the patient. There are certain other factors. During sleep also patient may feel slightly discomfort, because we keep at least half an hour recording. I will not go in detail, but let me see ABP implementation. So basically it is a device we just attach on the non-dominant arm of the patient, and it should compress your brachial artery. We set limit for at least half an hour, and every half an hour that instrument record the blood pressure. So if that instrument has recorded less than 20 during day and less than 7 during night, we have to repeat the procedure. And what we see usually, as I have mentioned, that we especially focus on deeper, non-deeper riser and extreme deepers. So how to interpret that part? So any 24-hour average blood pressure more than 130/80 in ABPM is hypertensive. During daytime 135/85, and nighttime is 120/70. Above this value, we should consider such patient as a hypertension. Okay, I will just discuss this slide so it will serve the purpose. Just 1 minute. Yeah. So this is the normal pattern, and see during sleep there is a dipping. Hypertensive dippers. On treatment also there was a dipping, and non-dipper there was a no. In third slide there was a no dipping during the night time. So these are the certain response which see on ABPM. So as I main concern is patient is on treatment. First is to diagnose, and patient whether patient is responding to the treatment. These are the 2 main concern for ABPM, or when we ask the patient for going ABPM therapy. So Indian perspective, yeah, we are using, there was a study which has been conducted, and it has been found that more than 70% of physician has advised ABPM. This is home BP monitoring. It is, the concept is same, how your ambulatory blood pressure monitoring is measuring the blood pressure. Limitation is same like ambulatory blood pressure monitoring. And this is the basically graph how patient should measure the blood pressure, and they should monitor and they should keep a record during morning and evening time. Okay, I will skip this slide. These are the newer method which has been implemented in US and China, that is BP measurement in public places, but it is very difficult in Indian perspective. So advantage would be useful for screening in the general population, accessible to the public, and could save both general practitioner and healthcare cost. Okay, I will just keep. Yeah, cuffless wearable BP monitors. Nowadays we are wearing smartwatch, and in which basically all the vitals are coming. So basically it is how it measures the blood pressure. It is basically pulse wave transmission methodology. There is a pulse wave transmission sensor, how it measures your blood pressure, but it is not accurate. So just to conclude that how out of office blood pressure measurement methods is helpful. So for screening purpose, definitely yes, office blood pressure should be measured. Initial diagnosis, 24 ambulatory blood pressure is required. So please don't start direct treatment of any person who just one reading of 140/90. You can advise ABPM for such type of patient. Treatment of titration, definitely. Follow up, yes. And main indication is like ambulatory blood pressure monitoring is initial diagnosis and response to the treatment. Thank you for kind attention. Yeah.